Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Yuga Dharma Harinam Sankirtana Yajna ki jai, Patita Pavana Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Shubha ki jai, Bhagavad-Gita ki jai. Hare Krishna, dear friends, Vaishnavas, thank you so much for joining, taking out your precious Saturday evening. And for some, it may be a little in the morning as well. I know some of the devotees joined from India as well. So special gratitude to those wonderful souls for joining in the morning time. I know it's not easy to, in India, it's about 4 a.m. So thank you so much for taking out your precious time to join this Bhagavad Gita class, discussion, reading, enrichment. So before we start with session 5, I would like to take some kind of a quick recap for what we discussed last time. So if anyone wants to share something really struck you, any realizations, any thoughts, any quick recap, short and sweet from last time, if you would like to share, that would be great. Maybe a couple of devotees can share what they learned, what they realized, or anything from your reading you came across. Would someone like to share? You can raise your hand so we know who all may want to share. And then we'll move on to the next piece very quickly. Anyone wants to share? Raise your hand if you are interested to share anything stuck you from last time. Yes, Ravi Prabhu, want to share? I guess everyone is quite shy today. Is it a shy day of the year? No, right? I checked the calendar, it didn't say like that. Okay, so please be open and please share. It's not the shy day of the year today. So,
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, all devotees. Yes, Prabhuji, the last chapter that we read with you, it's as you summarize them in the acronym of doubt, DOUBT. So, like D stands for the Duryodhan or the Dhritarashtra, or in the demon, we can call it. And then follows by the O, which is the some sign I don't know how to say the word, oblivious sign,
ominous signs, very nice.
ominous signs, which
Yes.
is which indicates that how the Duryodhan has the chances of not winning the war because he doesn't have anything that is in favor of him. Then there
Very
is a
nice. Let's see if others remember the acronym as well. So he shared about D and O. Can anyone tell what does U stand for? If you were present in the last, yes, Sampada, you would like to share with what U means?
Uncertainty.
Uncertainty. So what was the uncertainty in his mind or Arjuna's mind? Who knows the answer?
he was uncertain about the whether to fight or not to fight due to various regions, and you have summarized them in 5 regions.
Very
Like the
nice.
starting with the he was very compassionate, he has the compassion for his family, his friends, and his teachers. So he thought it's not good to fight with them. And
Very
then
nice.
then he was also afraid of getting any sinful reactions.
Very nice.
Then
Thank
he
you,
was
Prabhu.
also like
Very
he was also
nice.
thinking like if I kill them, then whom do I enjoy this remaining samrajya? So he was
Mhm.
not, he just didn't want to do it. And he was also afraid of losing all the family tradition. And
Mhm.
then at the end, which is coming in chapter 2, he was undecisive. He was not able to decide whether to fight or not to fight. Then only
Thank
he
you.
surrenders to his friend, not as a friend, and he makes Krishna as his guru. And he thinks, okay, now you are the only one, because I have got all this karpanya dosh, like I'm like a misery now. I'm like a miser. I don't know what to do. So I'm under your feet.
Thank
Now
you.
you tell me what is best for me.
Very nice. Thank you. Thank you for sharing those 5 reasons, Prabhuji. Very nice. So then he was bewildered, the B for bewilderment. He was confused what to do, what not to do, and then T is the turning point. So he said, he was crying, morose, depressed, hands were shaking, Gandiva was slipping, and basically Krishna put his devotee in illusion so that we all who are in illusion, but we don't even often realize that, can get the message of Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna uses his devotees like Arjuna. And today we will see more from chapter 2. So till which verse did we read in chapter 3? Anyone remembers? Chapter 2, sorry.
I think we read the 2.1, Prabhuji.
2.1. Okay, so we'll start
Hare
with
Krishna Prabhu, I think we did until 2.2.
2.1, 2.2. Okay, we'll do a quick recap of that and then move forward. So let's start with the Mangalacharan prayers. Yeah, prayers to invoke auspiciousness, prayers to get the mercy of the teachers, because whatever we are discussing here, it's not any Tom, Dick, and Harry speaking, it's Lord Hari speaking. Okay, it's the mercy of Acharyas, it's the words of the Supreme Lord, and coming down in disciplic succession, which means through parampara system. So these are not my thoughts or anyone else's, any mundane person, thought. They are coming from Lord and his pure devotees. So we need to take their blessings and take their permission so that we can try to understand and absorb these wonderful teachings. Om Jnanatimidandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadhantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Shra Ye Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatarine Guru Gauri Chandraya Radhikaya Tadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. Who all want to hear a wonderful story? Because I said I'll tell a wonderful story which we may not have heard actually, because I also heard very recently in my 15 years of practicing. So who all are eager to hear that story? Raise your hand and use the reaction button to be engaged. Okay, so I can know that I'm talking to some person, right? So use that reaction button, thumbs up, or whatever you want to, happy or sad. Okay, so this is a story about the glories of chapter 2, okay, which we are all going to hear, correct? So we are starting kind of officially chapter 2, and this story is from Padma Puran, and Lord Shiva speaks this story to Mata Parvati when she was inquisitive. She was eager to know about the glories of Bhagavad Gita. In the first class also, or in the session 1, we also discussed some of the glories by Sri Shankaracharya, who mentions in the Gita Mahatmya that anyone who drinks the nectar of the Gita or the Ganges of Bhagavad-Gita will not take birth again, will be free from unskillful activities, will be able to cleanse the dirt of material life. But now let's hear specifically about chapter 2, because chapter 2 is also entitled The Summary of Bhagavad Gita. And interestingly, the acronym for chapter 2, which we'll cover towards the end, but I'm putting inquisitiveness in your mind, is also Gita, Gita, because it's a summary of the Bhagavad Gita, also known as Sankhya Yoga or analytical understanding. So we will see what those Gita mean, but for now, let's try to understand what are the glories. What did Lord Shiva tell when Mata Parvati asked about the glories of chapter 2? So pay attention, because if you miss one part, it will be hard to connect. So let's pay 100% attention. And if you are not doing something else, you can turn on your videos so I know that I'm talking to individuals or families. It really inspires me and helps us to be more engaged and focused. So that's my humble request, if possible. If you are something, not in a position, that's understood. So once upon a time, that's how stories begin with, right? There was this great personality, and Lord Shiva is quoting from the words of Lord Vishnu. He's following the parampara. So there was this great Brahmin named Devasham, okay? And he used to live in Pandharpur, and very, very pious, following yajna, dan, tapa, following all the uh, process of austerity, giving charity, and following the rules and regulations of the Vedic life. Very, very sincere person, and very, very spiritually inquisitive also. So he had a lot of good qualities, very, very pious, and trying to gradually, move up in the spiritual ladder, which we will cover later in the journey. And he was eager for searching about the absolute truth. Who is that absolute truth? How can I know more? So then he was inviting different people, different sadhus were visiting, and different saintly people were visiting. So once upon a time, this great person, this great yogi with half closed eyes was sitting in meditation. So Devasham, this Brahman, approaches this yogi, which we'll read in chapter 6, half closed eyes, Dhyan Yoga, etc. So this yogi said, so Brahmana asked, Devasham asked, well, I want to know about the Supreme Lord. I want to know about the absolute truth. And then what happens? That the yogi tells Devasham that you go to a place named Sohapur. Go to a place named Sohapur. And there you will meet a goat shepherd named Mitravan. Okay, named Mitravan you will meet, and then he will tell you about science of self-realization. And over there, this Devasham goes. And this was such an amazing place, absolutely in the mode of goodness. And as he goes there, he's so kind of awestruck to see the environment. Then the goats and the tigers were wandering around as if like friends. So he was confused, because goats and tigers don't wander like friends, right? Because tiger will eat the goat and goat will run away as soon as the goat sees the tiger. So in short, they were non inimical. They're naturally inimical, but at that place they were non-inimical. So then Devasham approaches whom? Mitravan. So he finds Mitravan sitting in meditation on the Supreme Lord, and Devasham asked that that how come this place is so transcendental, that the goats and the tigers are just wandering like friends, they're not inimical. And then Mitravan replies that I'll tell you a story, a story within a story, that once upon a time, and the tigers were attacking the goats, and then suddenly, as soon as the tiger was about to chase in the chase they were running, and suddenly the tiger becomes non-violent, very close to the goat, and then the tiger doesn't just feel like kind of killing the goat. And then tiger is awestruck, how come this happened? And the goat is also not fearful. The goat is also awestruck, how come that happened? And Mitravan was also present at that time. It's now he's narrating a story to Devasham. It's quite intricate. So then the goat and the tiger approach Mitravan at that time and says, well, Mitravan, do you know why we are, feeling like friends? Why our natural fear and natural desire to kill the goat is gone? He said, I don't know. And then there was a monkey sitting on the branch. He said, well, I know all this story. Why all of you are feeling so non-violent? Why your natural propensities of envy or killing the goat has gone and your fear has gone. So then monkey tells the story to all three, the goats, the tigers, and Mitravan. He tells that in this forest, long back, there was a temple of Lord Shiva. And then there was a rishi named Sukama who was serving Lord Shiva in that temple, was serving Shivlinga. And then there came a sadhu in that temple. So Sukam, the rishi, served this great sage in the forest and asked for self-realization, asked for pure bhakti. Now Shivratri is coming. We can ask for pure bhakti from Lord Shiva. That's the best thing to ask, not for some temporary gains. Give me a good wife, give me good health, give me some money, give me some job. That's not the right thing to ask from Lord Shiva. Because just imagine what he's the best amongst the Vaishnavas. So Sukham asks for pure bhakti, pure Krishna consciousness. Give me the topmost thing. And so the sage said, okay. He carved in the stones with his own hands all the verses of chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita. All the verses. And he told that you recite these verses regularly and you will become free from all your bodily things, hunger, thirst. You will become free from. Not only that, anyone present will be free from there. Anyone present in that town, that Sohopur, was free from that their bodily desires, their enviousness, their enmity, their inimical nature, like the tigers and the lions were became friends with the goats. And not only that, this happened in the Puranas, even 500 years back, when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the hidden incarnation of the Supreme Lord, when he came, he's the Supreme Lord, and he came and was passing through the forest of Jharikhanda, which is in Jharkhand currently. The goats or the lions and the deers were embracing and dancing in ecstasy. And the footprints, this is not some fairy tale, the footprints of the tigers and the deers are still present in the stones over there. One devotee was sharing with me those recently. So this is Bhagavad Gita. It will help us to uplift us from our lower modes, from our vices, greed, envy, pride, illusion, and give us the topmost thing, and that is Krishna consciousness, pure bhakti, unalloyed bhakti. So Sukham started to worship, and then anyone who comes in this and hears about this wonderful chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita will attain all these higher modes. And then Maitravan also started to read chapter 2, started to follow the process of bhakti, and then he also became a great soul, and he gave then later guidance to Devasham, the Brahmana who had come. So in short, it is not just applicable for chapter 2, it is applicable for every chapter. What to speak of every chapter, every verse? What to speak of every verse? We have discussed Bhagavad Gita, Kinchitadita. Every word of Bhagavad Gita is so powerful because it is a song of God. It is not some material word, it is not some material sound. So with that mood, with that our focus, let's try to understand this chapter 2. And this was the story by Lord Shiva to Mata Parvati. So in the last few verses, in the last, I think till text number, we studied till text number 1 and 2. So we were talking about in text number 2 that the Supreme Lord here, it's the first time, if you observe carefully, I'm sharing the screen, I hope you can see this. So Sanjaya Uvacha means Sanjay is speaking, correct? Very simple. Sanjaya said. Sanjaya Uvacha means Sanjay said. Uvacha word will come multiple times. So we can remember it in Sanskrit, it means, in English, it means said. Okay. And when it's in plural, it's said Uchu. Sometimes it will come. Maybe not in Bhagavad Gita, but later. So earlier we heard Dhritarashtra Uvacha, text 1, chapter 1. We heard Sanjaya Uvacha. We heard Arjuna Uvacha, right? But now from text number 2, the first time we see the Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, right? Because it's very important to note here that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan, is speaking this Bhagavad Gita, is giving the solution to all the problems or all the difficulties of Arjuna. So, and Prabhupada therefore gives a very detailed purport to this verse, because the first time Sri Bhagavan Uvacha is coming, and it will continue to come in all the verses spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Bhagavan, the possessor of opulences. Namely, we discuss Krishna has unlimited opulences, but we discuss about the 6: unlimited wealth, unlimited beauty, unlimited knowledge, unlimited strength or power, unlimited fame, and unlimited renunciation. He was ready to drive the chariot, drive like a car, like become a driver of his devotee like Arjuna. And also Prabhupada is really mentioning this point here in this purport, that the Supreme Lord, there are 3 aspects or 3 realizations. Some say God is light, some say God is point, some say God is everyone, some say I am God, some say you are God, some say everyone is God, some say we are all God or we will become God, or there is no one God, and things like that. So there is a lot of hodgepodge on the name of God or Bhagavan, correct? But here Krishna's to Bhagavan Swayam. Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. There are lots and lots of verses in this scriptures in Bhagavad Gita where it is very, very clearly said Krishna is to Bhagavan Swayam. He is the Supreme Personality of God. And then there are 3 understandings or realization. So if God is something which is incomplete, so some say, well, God cannot be person. That means God is missing something, correct? Right? Then how can he be God? Because God means complete. Or some say, well, God cannot be this, God cannot be that. That means that he's missing something. That means he's not absolute or he's not complete. So there are 3 realizations, which is Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. The Brahman is like the effulgence of the Supreme Lord. Like you have a sun. Sun example is, I think, mentioned in this purport as well. So the sun disk, the effulgence of the sun, and the sun planet, correct? If someone sees, like for example, I'm not seeing the sun, but you can see the sunlight coming from the window. So an intelligent person will understand that the light is coming from the source, right? The light cannot, the energy light is coming from some energetic. Let's say someone, hits something on your window and the window cracks. What will be your first reaction? Anyone would like to say? What will be your first reaction? If your window cracks and with some stone or ball or something, what will any thoughts?
Who did it?
Who did it? Yes. Because the stone or the ball or anything, it didn't just, flew from nowhere, correct? There must be some source. There must be some energetic behind that energy. The stone had that kinetic energy, that momentum which hit the window and the window cracked. So who did it? Who is that energetic? Who is that mischievous boy or the person playing, you know, cricket or baseball and hit the window and the window cracked open, right? Similarly, the energy or the light is coming from that energetic, and that energetic is the Supreme Bhagavan, the personal aspect of the Lord. So that Bhagavan aspect is understanding of the personal aspect with his, you know, holding the flute, with his hairs, with his eyes, with his feet, with his hands. And if, you know, even in Bible it is said man is made in the image of God. So we are person, you know, and we are made in the image of God, right? Some people, you know, why they discard the personal aspect, and they are called impersonalist, that they think, well, God should be something which I am not. Because if God is also like me, then how can he be God? Correct? It may sound correct, but there is a flaw in there. The flaw is that we think that yes, God, he is not like us in the sense that I am made up of this body, which we'll cover later, of five elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether. So in solid, liquid, or gas, in scientific way, if you want to understand in the modern way, there are some solid substances from earth, there are some liquid substances, blood, and there's some gaseous substance, there is air in the body, right? So but the Supreme Lord is not like us. He is not, his body is not made of earth, water, fire, air, ether. He's absolute truth. He doesn't come like how we come. So therefore, we are not, uh, we are not God, and we'll never be God. That's very, very important to understand. We can become Brahma, we can become Indra, we can become a dog, we can become an ant, we can become an elephant. All these are different kind of garments. This is a subject for later, but this point I want to really emphasize about Bhagavan, because Prabhupada is emphasizing about the point here, Bhagavan, in text number 2. So therefore, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. And we discuss about his opulences, his strength as well. So now let's move on to text number 3. Is it clear a little bit? The Paramatma is the localized form, isn't it? The Krishna is present in our hearts. So Paramatma is a localized form in the heart of everyone. That Paramatma realization. So Brahman, the effulgence, Paramatma, the localized form, and the Bhagavan understanding or realization, Krishna as person, the supreme personality of Godhead with hands and flute, and that's how Arjuna will later say, you know, that's for us so that we can also easily relate and understand his in his complete aspect. So only a devotee can try to understand Krishna in his fullest form. So this is his complete understanding. Those who say God is just impersonal, it's only partially correct. And partially correct things often lead to wrong conclusions. Correct? For example, I can address let's say Ravi Prabhu as man, correct? Right? But is that correct? Yes, that's partially correct, right? But won't you like to be addressed as, you know, as by your name, by your, okay, Ravi Prabhu is wearing a beautiful white jacket with black glasses, and then whose father's name is so and so, whose height is this, who lives in this town, etc. How many of us would like to be addressed in a personal way rather than a man or a woman, right? Or some just living being, right? Or living being, right? That's correct. But it's not the complete understanding. Only a less intelligent person would try to address someone as, oh, living being, come here, right? So, but as Vaishnavas, we try to address or understand Krishna in his complete form, and also understand that the energy is coming from there, from the energetic. The Paramatma realization is coming from, is a kind of one of the understanding, but it's not the complete understanding. So let's move on to the next verse, which is text number 3. Now the Supreme Lord is speaking. Klebhyam partha naitatvai upapadyate Shudram hridaya dorbalyam tyaktvot uttishta parantapa. Someone want to read the translation of this verse, please? Yes, Vedi.
O son of Pritha, do not yield to this degrading impotence. It does not become you. Give up such petty weakness of the heart and arise, O chastiser of the enemy.
Thank you so much. So here Krishna is kind of chastising Arjuna that, get up, come on. How come these lower propensities are coming? How come it's in the middle of the, like, for example, like your child is studied hard for an exam, right? And it's the day of exam, and he's saying, oh daddy, oh mommy, I'm not feeling like writing the exam, right? So they'll say like, well, come on, get up, be brave. How come these lower propensities are coming? It's the day of exam. You studied all, your year. Now it's your time to prove the medal. And you are, feeling like it's I don't want to fight. Come on. And then you'll revive like, oh, you are, the great Aryan. And then this came in the last verse. We didn't discuss that piece, but I want to mention that Anarya Jishtum Aswargyam. Don't become Anarya, become Arya. So, Arya means, Prabhupada is mentioning the person who knows the value of life, who understands the spiritual understanding of life. So, just by having the name Arya Samaj or this Samaj or that Samaj does not become Aryan. Aryan means the one who's a truly civilized person. So practically, or one who understands the spiritual culture. So sorry to say, today in this world, most of the population is just following the Anaryan culture or not Aryan, not understanding the true value of life, not understanding the spiritual culture. And therefore, there are so many problems. There are so many diseases. There are so many difficulties. Why? Because of not following the Aryan culture, not following the understanding the spiritual culture. So Hitler, on the name of Aryan, that he thought, okay, we are Aryans and rest everyone else is a fool, so let's kill, right? Let's kill them. They're primarily the Jews and others. That's not Aryan. Aryan means one who understands the true civilization, the true meaning of life, true spiritual culture. In short, we should try to become Aryan. Or a Krishna conscious devotee is certainly following that culture. That means to be compassionate. And now we also discuss the meaning of compassionate, to not on the bodily level, to on the spiritual level. Can anyone give the example of misplaced compassion? So we discussed this misplaced compassion. Can anyone give an example of, raise your hand if you would like to share an example of misplaced compassion? That means compassion on the level of body. Yes, Sheetal Mataji, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I think in last time you had discussed this, you had given an example of Kai.
Kai, yes. She was trying to help, but not knowing what is the real thing. And also from modern times, for example, there are so many meat eating industry is a good example, right? People sometimes feed meat to the kind of hungry people, right? And they're thinking, oh, it's a great thing, I'm quenching their hunger. But on the spiritual platform, that animal, the soul, so of course the soul is eternal, but that does not allow us to harm others. That does not allow anyone to cut cows or or other livestock and eat for their own selfishness, or even one may think, oh, I'm distributing meat, correct, or the flesh of others, or I'm trying to quench hunger. It is misplaced compassion, because on the spiritual level, that person is accumulating a lot of bad karma, right? By killing the cows, by distributing wrong products, which are not sanctioned by the Supreme Lord. So misplaced compassion on the bodily platform. On the spiritual platform, if someone, there are millions of abortions done every year. On the spiritual platform, that's wrong, correct? On the material platform, there is like, if an ordinary person kills, an ordinary, like another person in the city, will that person be punished? Of course, yes, right? But if the child in the womb is aborted, there is no punishment, correct? And so on a spiritual platform, it's wrong, right? It's wrong, and there are heavy punishments. But the point is, we have to understand what is right compassion. It's on the spiritual platform, and we discussed that distributing prasadam is a very good way. It not only helps the body, it also helps one's emotional and, most important, spiritual needs. So we discussed compassion, we discussed the word anarya and arya, we discussed the word Bhagavan, we discussed the three understanding, and now we discussed few examples also. So now Krishna is kind of little probing Arjuna, or kind of accusing Arjuna, get up, trying to be little heavy upon Arjuna, so that his real kind of self, or trying to boil his blood, in short, so that he can really kind of, because right now Arjuna has not surrendered to Krishna, right? Right now the talks are more like friends. Okay, I don't feel like fighting, my hands are trembling, I don't feel like right now. Krishna is just more like friendly level. And we will see very soon that how Arjuna will take shelter and surrender as a disciple. So, but before that, he gives one more reason, because now Krishna is kind of telling, why are you scared to kill your enemies, right? Why are you scared to kill your enemies? Now, let's see what Arjuna speaks. Arjuna uvacha katham bhishmam aham sankhye dronam cha madhusudana ishubhi pratiyotsami pujar arhavash arisudana. Would someone want to read the translation for this one?
Can I read?
Yes, I can't go, please.
Hare Krishna. Translation. Arjuna said, O killer of enemies, O killer of Madhu, how can I counteract with arrows in battle men like Bhishma and Drona, who are worthy of my worship?
Thank you so much. So here the word used is Madhusudana. Whom is it used for? For Krishna. Oh, Madhusudana means the killer of Madhu demon. How can I kill? Well, oh Krishna, you kill demons, correct? Therefore, Arjuna is using the word Madhusudana. But you are asking me to be Drona Sudana? You are asking me to be Bhishma Sudana? They are my worshipable, correct? Puja Arhu, Puja Arhu. They are they are worthy of my worship. They are not my enemies. They are my grandfather. They are my teachers. There's an interesting story, kind of a flashback, when Drona was teaching the Pandavas and the Kauravas, and he knew that the tension is developing between Pandavas and Kauravas, and he knew that fight would happen. So at that point also, he asked Arjuna, you are my favorite. And a time would come that I would be, on the other side fighting with you. So don't be lenient at that time. So Drona told or asked his disciple, his favorite disciple Arjuna, to show his all his might when the time will come, because he knew he was he's a great devotee and very very noble personality, very highly elevated soul. So the point here is that why are you asking me to kill my relatives, my teachers, my grandfather? You didn't kill Ugrasena, right? You didn't kill the Yadus. You killed the demons like Putana, Kamsa, etc. Why are you asking me to kill my relatives or my teachers? You didn't kill your teachers Sandipani Muni, right? So it's an interesting point Arjuna is making. They are worthy of my respect. So another important lesson is that, and which I think is going to come in the next verse. Which let's move on to next verse, which is text number 5. Gurun ahatva hi mahanubhavan shreyo bhoktum bhikshayam api haloke hatvartha kamam stu gurun ihaiva bhunjiya bhogan rudhira pradignan. Okay, this one, would someone like to read? Hasn't got chance yet.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. It would be better. Yeah.
Please.
It would be better to live in this world by begging than to live at the cost of the lives of great souls who are my teachers. Even though desiring worldly gain, they are superiors. If they are killed, everything we enjoy will be tainted with blood.
Thank you so much. So Arjuna is justifying his position. Look at okay, even if they are wrong, okay, even if they are wrong, but let's say sometimes a father may chastise the child or the that doesn't mean that the child will revolt against the father or the grandfather, correct? So that's lesson is there that seniors should be respected, elders should be respected, even if uh, sometimes they are wrong. They should be respected in a appropriate way. That does not mean that we have to take the wrong message. For example, someone tells, "Oh, you should eat, you should take drugs." Oh, okay, our elder is telling. It could be an elder in the school or college. It could be an elder in our family, right? If they're asking us to do wrong thing, then we have to maturely handle it, correct? That does not mean we have to kill them. So that's what Arjuna is telling, that even if they're wrong, that let's not kill them. It's better to beg. Now Arjuna is saying this. A Kshatriya is saying it's better to beg. And Prabhupada mentioned that we should not try to do others' dharma, even if we are sometimes doing our dharma not in the best way. It's an important lesson. Otherwise, we'll be misguided, misled. If Arjuna would have done that, he still in his mind, thoughts about battle, thoughts about war, thoughts about all these would have been going on. Correct? So it's better to do one's duty even improperly rather than trying to copy paste someone else's duty. So, and therefore these varna and ashramas are defined, which will come and study later. But for now, let's study text number 6 and then we'll go to 7. Na chaitad vidmaha kataran no gariyo yadva jayema yadiva no jayuhu yan eva hatva na jijiviksham te avasthitaha pramukhe dhartarashtraha. So I think Ravi Prabhu, another Ravi Prabhu, not Ravi Shankar Prasad Prabhu, another Ravi Prabhu raised hand. So you wanted to read, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna. Nor do we know which is better, conquering them or being conquered by them. if we killed the sons of Dhritarashtra, we should not care to live. Yet they are now standing before us on the battlefield.
Thank you so much. So here comes the fifth reason, Arjuna's indecision. 4 reasons we discussed in chapter 1. And now Arjuna is telling, well, we don't know. Okay, we don't know that what's right. Is it better to kill them or is it better to be killed by them? Because Arjuna is confused. In confusion, there is lack of decision, correct? And that's a common problem actually in this day and age because we are so distracted, correct? So that leads to indecision, that leads to immaturity, that leads to lack of focus. And we will see how to resolve all these challenges as well, which is going to come in the next verse. So, but the point here is that Arjuna is confused. Arjuna does not know what is right, what is wrong, what will be better, what will be really good for me. I don't know. So Arjuna did lots and lots of analysis by his own. In chapter 1, text 24, he said, I want to do nirikshana. Oh, my driver Krishna, take me in the middle of the battle. I want to see and analyze through my own self. By my own self, I want to analyze who has come to fight, who has not come to fight, who wants to fight. So basically, Arjuna was confused and not knowing what is right and what is wrong. Now, in this state of confusion and depression, frustration, moroseness, hands trembling, eyes full of tears, let's see what he did, which is very, very important verse, text number 7. Those who want to learn can also learn. Karpanya doshopahat svabhavaha pritchami tvam dharma sammudacheta yat shreyasya nishchitam bruhi tanme shishyasteham shadimam tvam prapannam. Okay, would someone like to read this one? Casey Mataji, you want to read?
Yes, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Now I am confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of miserly weakness. In this condition, I am asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me.
Thank you so much. This is kind of a turning point in Bhagavad Gita. Until this point, Arjuna was, as we discussed, was just trying to analyze by his own self, by his own mind and senses, and he was put into illusion. So the point is, a person in illusion cannot be freed by his or her own attempt. He needs to take shelter from someone who is not in illusion, here referring to spiritual master, here referring to the Supreme Lord and his pure devotees and his bona fide devotees who are his bona fide representatives, who are free from this illusion, who can help us to be free from perplexities in life. Prabhupada is so nicely mentioning here that all the Vedic scriptures advise us to do one thing. If we have to get free from the perplexities or dualities of life or challenges of life, what do we need to do? Take shelter of bona fide spiritual master. Om Agyan Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. We are born in the darkest of the ignorance, the darkness of ignorance. To get the light of knowledge, we need to take shelter for the one who carries the torchlight, right? For one who can give us the light of knowledge, of bhakti, and of Krishna consciousness. And that is Krishna and or his bona fide representatives. So Arjuna is taking shelter. Now it's interesting thing. We can discuss a lot on this verse, that we are all in perplexities, correct? We're all in different perplexities, health situations, emotional situations, financial situations, and ups and downs in life. Everyone goes through challenges. And the solution to all problems is not material. Solution to all problems is spiritual, actually. Only if we have the vision to understand it. Even today, only me and my wife were kind of watching a journey of two sisters. Materially, they have a lot of challenges, and I'm going to share that video also with you for those who are interested. They have lots of challenges. They have muscular dystrophy, right? And a lot of difficult situation. And they were mentioning that even to do the normal chores like eating a meal takes 1 or 2 hours because the muscles are so weak. And taking a bath may take hours and things like that. And all of us have kind of similar situation or go through a lot of different upheavals, loss of a near one, health issues, financial issues, relationship issues, etc. The solution to all challenges is spiritual, is to take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master, to get out of that web, to get when the ant is stuck in that web or any creature is stuck in the web, he or she cannot get out, the creature cannot get out by his own endeavor. Right? So we need to take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. And ask what? Guru. Gudakesha. Gudakesha means the conqueror of darkness. Guru means darkness. Guru means one who destroys darkness from our life. In this modern day and age, there are a lot of so-called gurus. There are, and guru has become such a common word actually, even in our, kind of Western culture, also Eastern culture. Oh, he's a guru of physics, right? He's a guru of tabla, or he's the guru of even in companies. These words are very common in management. Like they'll say, "Oh, what's the mantra? What's your mantra for success? What's your mantra to be a CEO?" Or someone will say he's a guru in, let's say, programming, right? We say like that. Oh, he's a guru in medicine. But actually, the word guru is more important for spiritual knowledge, because that, guru in programming, can he or she help to get free from the real perplexities of life? That's more like a teacher. Okay, you have a physics problem to solve, you go to a physics teacher, and then he or she will help you to understand that physics problem, which is also on the level of body, correct? But to get out of the perplexities and the dualities of life, physics guru or physics teacher cannot. Even to the extent the word guru, people have degraded to the extent, oh, he's love guru, or he's this guru, he's that guru. It's all nonsense actually. But real guru means a selfless devotee of Lord. And Krishna manifests inside the heart as Chaitya Guru and outside as the spiritual master or guru. And what should we ask? Because Arjuna is asking, Yat Shreya Syam Nishchitam Brohitanme. Don't give me prayers. Don't give me, oh, guru of making money. Right? There are gurus of making money also. They say, oh, I'm a guru in making money. I will tell you how to make money. No, that is prayers. That money, will that help to get out of the clutches of the material world, of the perplexities? Will it give us true freedom? Will it give us freedom from our anarthas? Lust, anger, greed, envy, pride. Will it free us from the cycle of birth and death so I don't have to suffer again in this material world or go through all the perplexities? No, that money guru, love guru, physics guru, and this guru and that guru, so-called guru, cannot give. That only a real guru can give. And that happened, right? Just 50 years back. We're not talking about some 5,000 or 5 million years ago. And still it's happening every day for those who are taking shelter of real guru. Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON Society, International Society for Krishna Consciousness, came to US in the middle of a very turbulent times. where people were doing all sorts of nonsense things, like the counterculture was going on, unrestricted sense enjoyment, unrestricted drug addiction, and complete counterculture. By taking shelter of a bona fide guru, Srila Prabhupada, their life completely transformed. Their life, they came out of all the perplexities of life. That's what a real guru is for, not to show some magic. Correct? Some say, oh, my guru can show this magic. And then go to a magic show, you'll see many more magics. Correct? Or some say, well, guru can, give me some ashes. Well, then you can burn lots of cardboard or some materials, you'll get much more ashes. The purpose of guru is not to get some praise. Oh, the guru can produce gold. Can the guru produce mountains of gold? Hmm? No, 1 gram of gold from here and there, getting some siddhis, that's not the goal of life. Even if one can do that, will that, that 1 gram of gold help us to get out of the perplexities of life? No, guru means one who can give us shreyas, one who can help us to get this out from the perplexities. And that is Krishna and the Supreme Lord and his bona fide devotees. So one must approach a spiritual master. It's not a question of if, it's a question of if one is sincere. No, it's not. It's a secret of life. It's very, very transcendental. It's very, very confidential also. It's a secret. Now, what is a secret? Bhagavad Gita is Bhagavad Gita a secret? Yes and no. Correct. And Bhagavad Gita was spoken on the battlefield in the open ground of Kurukshetra. And is Bhagavad Gita is to get a copy of Bhagavad Gita, how many $1 million it takes to get a copy of Bhagavad Gita that only very selected few people can get? How many $1 million it took you to get a copy of Bhagavad Gita? Anyone? Right? It doesn't take a lot. Anyone can get it easily, correct? It's available freely on Amazon and Bhagavad Gita as it is. I'm talking about, it's probably some devotees can easily give it to you, correct? So it's not, and the knowledge in there, right? It's very simple in plain English or Hindi, it's all languages. So no one can say, I can't understand. Or the only thing is sincerity of purpose. Arjuna showed his sincerity of purpose. And Arjuna had a lot of qualities. So we need to understand the qualities of a good disciple as well. Arjuna had faith in the Supreme Lord, right? He was ready to surrender in the middle of the war. Just imagine the situation. It's like a life and death situation, correct? People think, oh, Bhagavad Gita should be read in the, when I'm lying down on my couch and in very comfortable, or on the beach, everything is rosy and cozy, then I'll read Bhagavad. Now I have to earn money. Now my kids are small. Now I have to get married, or now whatever situation, this and that. Now I have my exams and I'm preparing for SAT and MAT and GMAT or CAT or BAT or this. So many exams are there, right? Now, the time is now, right? The time is now, because there will never be an ideal time, because we are in the middle of perplexities. Who can say that no, Arjuna was like a life and death situation? So our perplexities are much smaller than Arjuna's probably. So Arjuna showed faith, Arjuna showed surrender, Arjuna was tolerant also, correct? Arjuna was sense controlled also. Arjuna was willing to go to beg actually. Just imagine his level of surrender. Arjuna had full faith in the time of crisis, taking shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. So all these are qualities. And asking for Shreyas. We discussed these two words, Shreyas and Prayas. He's not asking temporary, give me some temporary relief, quick fix solution. No. For that, spiritual life is for people who want long-term happiness. And of course, that journey is so smooth and nice, it will also give short-term success also. But ultimately, it will give Shreyas. A lot of people, why they get up, in wrong things, because they're searching for a wrong thing. Very simple. As we are desiring, if we are searching for a wrong guru, then we will get that. Arjuna was willing to pay the price. That means willing to follow the instructions of the guru. Sometimes people go to guru. Why? Because they know that this guru or this so-called guru will not tell me to do things, will tell me to do things which I like, correct? Or will not ask me to do things which I don't like. For example, he'll not ask me to change my bad habits. Oh, continue eating what you want, continue doing what you want. I don't care. Just give me some money. That's all. So if the person is searching for that so-called guru or a bogus guru or a guru, a cheater, not a true teacher, then the person will get that. But if the person is looking for real shreyas, then then he must approach that kind of guru, and he must understand what are the qualifications of that guru and what are the qualifications to be a good disciple of that guru. You must be ready to accept the instructions. You must have faith. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita, that's the open secret. Not everyone takes to the message of Bhagavad Gita because not everyone is willing to be a good student of Bhagavad Gita. Not everyone is willing to accept the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. It's like a person, having a lot of, let's say, lung cancer, or and he somehow recovers, and he got it because of smoking. Okay, a person got lung cancer, and now because of the old habits, years and decades, he still does not give up smoking. Somehow he has recovered. Now the doctor tells him, "Can I tell you a secret? If you want to live," he said, "Okay, yes, I really want to live. I really want to live. Please, please, please tell me a secret." What's that secret? Guess what? Quit smoking. Is it a secret? It's not a secret. It's very, very plain. But the secret is that only one will understand for those who want to apply that principle. So Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says in Bhagavad 9.2 that this is very, very confidential, not just confidential, most confidential, guhyat tamam, very, very confidential, because only those who are ready to accept it. And it's not that one has to give, no, don't take me in a very, very kind of extremist way. It's not that, that means it must be something very complex. No, simple living. Bhagavad Gita is simple for simple. It's not that one has to give up one's job. It's not that one has to give up one's education or one's family or move countries or move cities. We can practice the teachings of Bhagavad Gita in our current situation, whether we are young or old or 10 years or 100 years or anywhere in between or even 1 year. We can practice. Bhagavad Gita is so practical. It's a book to live by. It's a manual of life. And manual of life is for everyone. Not only for rich people, not only for young people, not only for poor people. It's anyone and everyone. That's the open secret. Anyone can read, understand, and apply the teachings for those who want to follow. So we don't need to change the situations. We need to change our consciousness. In Hindi, we say paristhiti, the word paristhiti, and manosthiti. Paristhiti means situations. Manosthiti means the consciousness. So we don't have to change the paristhiti. We have to change the manosthiti, or the consciousness. And then we'll share this verse from Bhagavatam 10:4-58. Samashhritaye padapallavaplavam mahatpadam punyayasho murare bhavambudirvatsa padam param padam padam yad vipadam natesha. It's such a beautiful verse. I'd like to ask someone to read the translation. Yashda Mataji, would you like to read, please?
Hare Krishna. Translation: For those who have accepted the boat of the lotus feet of the Lord, who is the shelter of the cosmic manifestation and is famous as Murari, the enemy of the Mura demon, the ocean of the material world is like the water contained in a calf's hoof print. Their goal is Param Padma, Vaikuntha, the place where there are no material miseries, not the place where there is danger at every step.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So in short, if we take shelter of Krishna and his bona fide representatives, all the perplexities will go. And the perplexities will come like fire. Prabhupada is mentioning. Like forest fire. So in a forest, fires arise, right? Uninvited. No one wants perplexity. No one wants any disease in their life. Anyone wants to get sick? No one wants to get sick, correct? But we still get it, correct? Anyone wants to lose a dear one? Their dear father, mother, grandfather, grandmother, etc. No, right? No one wants to lose them, but we still happen. Anyone wants to get ups and downs in life, like challenging situations which kind of really trouble us? No one wants. We want to be happy, right? We don't want tough or difficulties to trouble us, but it will still happen. But padam padam yad vipadam, danger at every step. Pada means step. But if one takes shelter of Krishna and his devotees and spiritual master, then one will easily cross over this ocean or this forest fire. Even a child can cross a puddle of water contained in the hoof print of a calf, right? This much, correct? Can we all jump over it, right? Yes? Who can jump over this much? Raise your hand if you can jump over like a puddle of water contained in the hoof print of a calf. Okay. Some of you are still doubtful, right? Everyone can jump over, I believe. So that's the importance of spiritual master in our lives. And who's a spiritual master? One who is born in a Brahmin family, or one who is born in India, or one who is born in so-and-so community? No. Prabhupada mentions that, yeah, sure. Kiba. Yes. In text number 8, one who knows the science of Krishna consciousness, one who knows Krishna and one who knows how to share Krishna with others, one who can help us to be Krishna conscious, one who can help us to change our state of heart. That's a true spiritual master, correct? Ye Krishna tattva veti say guru hoy. One who understands Krishna and can help others to get of their troubled situations. So very, very important verse. For all turbulence or perplexities, we need to take shelter of Krishna and his devotees or spiritual master. So Arjuna did that. Arjuna did that. And let's see what happens next. Nahi prapashyami mam apun mamap udyad yachokam uchoshanam indriyanam avapya bhumava asaptanam ridham rajam suranam api chadhipatyam. Anyone read this, please? Shital Mataji wanted to read.
Hare Krishna. I can find no means to drive away this grief which is drying up my senses. I will not be able to dispel it even if I win a prosperous, unrivaled kingdom on earth with sovereignty like the demigods in heaven. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you. So basically, Arjuna has kind of surrendered now, and is concluding that that nothing can help me out. Only one thing can help me out, and that is you, my Lord. Prabhupada mentions a very nice thing here. Let's read this. He could understand that his so-called knowledge was useless in driving away his problems. He was not an ordinary person, right? He was a very, very intelligent person, a lot of good education, a lot of powers, spiritual strength, and a lot of benedictions from demigods like Indra, Agni Dev, etc. We read that. the student of Drona, not just a student, the best student of Drona, the son of Indra, amazing heritage, amazing everything. So it was impossible to solve such perplexities without the help of spiritual master like Lord Krishna. Academic knowledge, scholarship, high position, and we can add on wealth, beauty, fame, family, recognition. All these things are useless in solving the problems of life. Help can be given only by a spiritual master like Krishna. Therefore, the conclusion is that spiritual master is 100% Krishna conscious and bona fide spiritual master is a bona fide spiritual master, for he can help solve the problems of life. It's an amazing lesson. So, if we think, oh, if I get into perplexities, oh, I have my wealth, I have my bank account, I have my savings, oh, I'm very educated, oh, I am not very beautiful, oh, I'm this, I have a lot of friends and this and that. Then there's a story in Bhagavatam about Gajendra, who had lots and lots of strength. He is the king of elephants. He had a lot of strength. He had a lot of power, a lot of friends. Everyone used to fear. But when the crocodile caught him by the leg and he fought for a very long time, he couldn't be rescued. And then he called out wonderful verses called Gajendra Stuti, and then he was rescued. Same with Mata Draupadi. She was also caught up by the crocodile of Dushasana, who was trying to disrobe her. She also thought, oh, I am very strong. Oh, I am Kshatrani. I have Kshatriya blood in my veins, so I can fight. I can do on my own. Or then she thought, oh, I have great husbands. Oh, I have great grandfather. Oh, I have great guru. No one could help. So in short, Prabhupada is mentioning a very important lesson. If we think to solve the perplexities, material situations will help, it will only lead to frustration. For material or any challenges or perplexity, the solution is one. That is Krishna and bona fide devotees. And then the example we discussed of Prabhupada, those people, when Prabhupada came, had everything material. In US country like New York, in a city like New York, in a country like US, material facilities, wealth, pleasures to enjoy, the so-called bodily pleasures, wealth, opulence, everything. But people are still perplexed, correct? If material situations could solve the problems, then no millionaire would have been suffering from any problem. But is that true? No millionaire has any problem. True or false? Who would say? If you say false, like do like Vedi. Okay. So you all agree that in fact they have more problems, right? More anxiety, more fear, more depression, suicides, etc., etc. Even famous people, even very beautiful actors and actresses may commit suicide, right? Why? Because of trying to solve material problems with material things. Inside shallowness. So we have to take shelter of spiritual mastery. That's the lesson. And that's what Arjuna is showing by his example. So Arjuna asked to resolve the problem definitely. And the only way is Krishna consciousness. This is from the purport you'll come across in your reading. So he took shelter or refuge in Krishna consciousness. And that is the right path of peace and harmony. Those devotees, those people, those souls who took shelter of Prabhupada 50 years back, they became amazing. All the bad habits gone, perplexities gone. And they could face all the perplexities because they had the spiritual solution. They had the shelter of right guru. So I know we are a little out of time, but from text 9 and 10, we'll try to next time. But let's take some reflections. Let's take some thoughts or comments or even questions if someone has any. We are open for that. So we discussed till text 8 here. If anyone has any additional comments or questions, please feel free to raise your hand or unmute and ask. We have a couple of minutes for that. Is everyone still awake? Do a thumbs up if you're still awake and hearing. Okay. Okay. Most of you are awake. That's wonderful. You're all very, very tolerant, I must say. So you already have all the wonderful qualities of tolerance. So anyone has any comment or question to add or to share, or any realizations or any? Yes, Shital Mataji, you want to say something?
No, Prabhuji, I just had a question about the Bhagavatam verse that you quoted. What was the number? The
Yeah, the boat of lotus feet of spiritual
yes,
master.
yes,
10,
yes.
14, 58. The prayers of Lord Brahma. The chapter is prayers of Lord Brahma actually. And 10, 14, 58. It's a very, very nice verse. Okay, any other thoughts, questions? So all of you are very, very sincere students of Bhagavad Gita. You're trying so sincerely to understand, to study Bhagavad Gita, to understand and put it into practice. Anything stuck you? Let's talk about some reflections. If there are no questions, anything stuck you today? Anything really kind of touched your heart? Yes, Ravi Prabhu, you have your hand up.
Yes, Prabhuji, I just wanted to add on that Bhagavatam sloka that you recited today, it's also in the 251 in this chapter.
Very nice. Thank you.
I was just reading that to my family in India, and I came across these verses. So I just stuck to my mind. It's 251 in this chapter.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. And since it's an important verse, you will see in Prabhupada's, reading Prabhupada's books, that you will come across those multiple times. Those important verses, Prabhupada, important things a teacher repeats multiple times. So Prabhupada will repeat certain things multiple times. And this verse is certainly one of those. Any other reflections, comments, additions?
No, Prabhuji, I used to be reading Gita quite a few times, but this time after, no, I was reading for the homework as you suggested, and I got really good clarification of the knowing the absolute truth in 3 phases. So far, it was not coming very clear. I was just kind of remembering the words, but it kind of cleared this time. So what I'm trying to share is, if we keep reading the Gita, sometime it just reveals to us that this is the understanding, this is the meaning.
Thank you. That's a great realization. And Srila Prabhupada also says that every time we read, we'll find newer and newer jewels. We can never be done reading Gita. Even if one may have read once, the second time one reads, one will find newer jewels, newer realizations, newer lessons. So that's great. Thank you for sharing. And I have shared in the chat box, so I request to everyone to complete this short kind of form if you have not done yet. This is especially for those who are regularly attending. So I would like to kind of understand, all the wonderful souls here better, and also to your Bhagavad Gita record. So if you could mark your yes or no for those who are reading along. As I mentioned, if you are reading just 3 pages a day, just 3 pages a day, if you do, you will be able to read Bhagavad Gita in the year. Or to speak a day, even 5 days a week. So about 250 days are there. If you take 50 weeks, 5 days, then there are 250 days, right? So even that means you're reading 5 days a week, 3 pages, which takes less than 15 minutes, you will be able to read the whole Bhagavad Gita. So that's my recommendation, suggestion. So please read it, because as Ravi Prabhu mentioned, you'll find newer and newer realization, newer and newer jewels in your journey and your reading. And some things I cover from here, some things I cover from other classes, but I would certainly encourage you to read. So please do these 2 small things as well. So if there are no other comments, yeah, if someone has already filled, yeah, not required to fill it again, but I still see some devotees who may have not filled. No, you need to only fill it one time. Yeah, but if you're joining as an individual, like if you have filled, let's say husband and wife, I would encourage to fill individually, because the responses may be different. Or even the children are joining. I see some of you are joining, so try to fill it individually. Okay, so I would like to thank again all of you for your precious time, and on a Saturday evening, you could have done 1,000 different things, but you chose to come for this Bhagavad Gita study. And Krishna says that anything done, any spiritual, any even minute, even 1 minute spent in spiritual life will have unlimited returns. What to speak of about all of you who are so sincerely reading, understanding, and trying to understand Bhagavad Gita. It will protect us from the greatest danger. It will certainly give us all protection, like how Krishna protected Draupadi Mata, how Krishna protected Gajendra, and multiple other devotees. So thank you so much again. Bhagavad Gita Upanishad ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Gaur Bhaktavinda ki jai. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. We'll see you next week. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.